Hi, my name is Alexandre Badolato and I'm a car guy. I have this car collection for the last 30 years here in Brazil. I started with the Brazilian-made Mopars, the cars that Chrysler has built here in Brazil from the late 60s to the early 80s. And that's the main spine of my collection. After that, I started to buy some cars that Chrysler made in other parts of the world, mainly US, but also Australia, Canada, Mexico. And in the past 10 years, I started buying cars from other brands, mainly Brazilian cars, like this Chevrolet SS that was built here in Brazil and has a very interesting story. 13 years ago, I bought this piece of land in the countryside of the state of Sao Paulo, 100 miles from the city of Sao Paulo, for the only purpose of holding my car collection. We then made 3 buildings. The first building has only cars made by Chrysler in Brazil. All the cars that are inside this building were made in the very same factory. The second building holds my collection of Mopars from overseas, cars that were made mainly in the US, but also in Australia, Mexico, Canada. And the third one is where I hold the collection of other brands, cars that General Motors built in Brazil, a few American cars, a few Brazilian cars from other brands, and it's a very mixed building. And over there is where I intend to build my 4th building, to hold the cars that are in this central area that should not be there. The intention of this building was that all the cars would be parked in 45 degrees, so any of the cars could leave, go out, take a ride inside the property, and then go back. But the collection was growing, the restorations were being finished, and I didn't have space to keep the cars, so I started putting in the center of this building what was not the original intention. In this building, you can see some Brazilian cars that in the beginning were very similar to the American Dart. So this is a 1970 Brazilian Dart that is pretty much the same thing of the 1969 American Dart. And here, 1971, it's the first coupe. They started in 1970 only with the 4-door. We got the coupe in the second year of production. Then we got the sport version. The sport version has a very different front end. You have to see here in different year models. But instead of calling it a Dart GT or something like that, Chrysler called it the Dodge Charger. So the Brazilian Dodge Charger is a sport version of the Dodge Dart, but it's a pretty decent version. They're all V8s. All the Dodge Darts in Brazil are V8. Never had this Land 6 here, thanks God. You got leather buckets, 4 on the floor, a nice finishing. For 1972, you have this stripes in the hood, and a little different front end. So this is the front end from 1971. Here's the base Charger. Here is the Charger R&T. This is the second year, the 1972. Then it's kind of messed here. Should have a 1973 over there, but a 1973 and 74 has the same front end that has the hidden headlights also, but the front grille is divided in 2 instead of being only one part like in 1971 and 1972. But we have a lot of different cars that Chrysler were making here based on the Dart. So this is a very cheap Dodge Dart that was intended for younger people, and it's called the SE Special Edition. In the US, the special edition is the high level. Here, the special edition was the simplest car. They all come in very citric colors, like green or yellow, like that one over there. The hood was flat black. You had a sport steering wheel. You had 3 on the floor, not 4 on the floor. And a very simple finishing. The buckets, they don't... You can hold it. It just if you're kind of fat, you're here, and the guy that's driving brakes too fast, maybe gonna smash the guy that's sitting over here. So this is pretty much the story that I want to tell. We have a more glamorized version, that is the Dodge Magnum. Nothing to do with the American Magnum, but with a completely different front end. A very nice interior. Well, I'm not going to show all the cars that are here in this building. There are about 60 cars, but the intention of trying to do this video in English is because 90%, 95% of the public, of my audience in my YouTube channel is from Brazil. But there are quite a few guys from overseas, mainly from the US, that comment, and most of the comments are, I can't understand a single word of what we're speaking, but I like the images, I like the cars, I like the pictures. And so I decided to try to do this video in English, to make this video in English, to see what happens and if there are people interested. Of course, there is a barrier of the language. I don't speak English in a daily basis for a long time, but I'll try to improve. Here, these cars are prepared for a video that I'm gonna make for the main channel after I finish this. Here you have 2 Chevrolet Opala SS. This car is a very interesting car because it has the body shell of Opel Rekord C, the car that Opel made in Germany from 1967 to 1971. But here in Brazil, the Chevrolet Opala was a mix, pretty much like the Brazilian people. They're very mixed. It was a mix of an European body shell, but with a very American look and an American engine and transmission. Instead of having the Opel engines, the Chevrolet Opala had the Chevrolet 250. This Chevrolet 250 with 4 on the floor, with very little tune-up, can become a very fast car because it's very light, and the Chevrolet 250 engine has plenty of things to be done in terms of tune-up. These 2 cars are put together for the video that I'm gonna do for the YouTube channel, for my main YouTube channel after this. These 2 cars are from the same year, same model, 1972 Chevrolet SS, Everest White, and they were both bought new in the same dealership. That was a joke. But this car was completely restored. It was rescued from the junkyard and it was completely restored. And this car is a survivor. It is a survivor. It has 90% of the paint original from factory, but it has some aftermarket accessories like this lights extension. This is the original model. And for some reason, someone thought back in 1972 that it would be nice to have this rear light extensions. This one has the front, everything in this car is original, like, yeah. And the original front end. And this had aftermarket front end, had this bumper extensions, had this yellow lights. So this is the original looks, and this is the car with our aftermarket accessories. But this car has the original touch and feel of a car that was not restored, a Survivor, and this car was completely restored. You can see the quality of the restorations that we do here. This interior was completely restored. The car was just a piece of junk in a junkyard. It was completely done from scratch. While this car still have everything factory original inside. So this is the comparison that we're going to do in a few minutes for the YouTube channel that is spoken in Portuguese. Here we have a Dodge pickup. This Dodge pickup is a SE Adventure 150. I bought this car in California about 8 years ago. It was imported as a collection car. It was from one owner. It's a 360, very nice, with some aftermarket accessories also. I'm not very fond of this aftermarket accessories, but when there are in the car, I just cannot remove. It's part of the story of the car. So we're gonna make a video of this car also. That was standing in the other building for quite a long time. This is my Dale Driver. And that's the story that I want to tell you guys. So please leave in your comments what do you think about the idea? What do you think about this car, if I should go ahead or not? Okay? Thank you. Bye.